DWTV for Channels Television. Okay, let's start checking with the commodities market. This time, Nigeria's rubber production industry. Let's cross over to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, where our studio is downtown to check through this. What we have with Funmi Adebowale, who is one of the research analysts at Financial Derivatives Companies, is joining us for this conversation. Funmi, good afternoon, and thanks for coming through on this particular conversation. Look at the rubber industry for us. Nigeria's output is less than 200,000, and that is just less than 1.2% of the total global output. What do you think Nigeria can do to increase its production and have more exports and become more competitive?
Yes, Bosse, like you said, Nigeria's rubber output is estimated at 160,000 tons. This is just about 1.19% of global output. However, I would like to emphasize that Nigeria has comparative advantage in rubber production. Despite this opportunity, a lot of factors are militating against production of rubber in Nigeria. For instance, most of the trees that are being used to produce rubber are very old, and this is having impact on their yield. Aside this, funding has also been a challenge to rubber farmers. So if these challenges have been addressed, given the fact that Nigeria has comparative advantage in rubber production, I believe Nigeria's position in the global rubber market will improve.
But again, if you look at the rubber prices down almost 8%, about $1,350 per ton in the third quarter we just finished. So why do you think this is happening? And do you see this price start climbing towards this peak of around $2,000 per metric ton?
Yes, we've seen the price of rubber, global price of rubber decline by 8.8% to about $1,350 per ton. This is partly due to the escalation in trade tension between the world's two biggest economies, that's the US and China. China accounts for more than 1/3 of global demand for rubber. So definitely the tension is having an effect on economic activities in China, and this is reducing their demand for commodities such as rubber. In as much as if the shortage in demand is there, we expect prices to continue to trend downwards, and this will persist in the short to medium term.
Well, so if this bearish trend continues in terms of pricing, what are the implications for Nigeria's trade balance and value of the naira here?
Yes, Bosse, in Q2, we saw that rubber accounts for about 0.05% of Nigeria's total exports. So we expect lower prices not to have a significant impact on Nigeria's on export revenue and also trade balance. If this happens, we also expect the naira to also remain stable in the short term.
Okay, a nice one there about rubber production. Thank you very much, Funmi Adebowale, one of the economists and research analysts at Financial Derivatives Company. Enjoy your day and see you next time. Oil prices are trading lower today, but that's still around $86 a barrel, pressured by rising U.S. inventories after Russia and Saudi Arabia struck a private deal in September to raise crude output. Brent futures were trading at $86.11. Down 44 cents from their last close on Wednesday. Brent hit a 4-year high of $86.74 a barrel. Yesterday, the U.S. oil, the West Texas Intermediate crude, were down 30 cents, $76.11 a barrel. Of course, investors and some analysts are saying the high fever oil prices was due to fear and uncertainty and not about fundamentals. Let's go to the Kenya's tourism sector, where the minister is forecasting that the East African country will likely earn 15% more this year from its tourism sector as the number of visitors jumped 17 to 18%. The East African nation, which relies on tourism as a key source of hard currency and jobs, had 1.47 million tourists last year and earned about $1.2 billion from the sector. Let's look at the head of Safaricom sticking with the Kenyan economy, this time in the telecom sector. The head of Safaricom's Innovation Laboratory has left the country's biggest telecoms company less than a year and a half after he joined. The former long-serving IBM executive left last month after leading Safaricom's Alpha Innovation Unit since April last year. He told Reuters that he had to leave Safaricom to focus on a technology startup which involves the education sector. He gave no notice through an email sent to Safaricom staff. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.